I'm sure you've heard the saying, throw spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks. This is just a funny saying to describe the process of testing many different things at one time and see what sticks or works and which don't or fall to the floor. Today, that spaghetti that we're going to be throwing at the wall are our designs, and we want them to be very sticky noodles. Now, before you get upsetty with your spaghetti, let's make sure you know how to get it sticky. I love this saying and this imagery because I am very visual. And just imagine throwing those well-cooked, super sticky noodles at the wall, and imagine throwing raw, uncooked noodles at the wall. It really is such a great analogy to highlight that we really want our designs to be those super duper sticky noodles. So we have the best chance of getting as many of them as possible to stick or convert into sales. When I first started my POD Etsy shop, I threw all of the noodles at the wall. I didn't know anything about making sticky noodles. But over time, I got much better at market research, I got much better at spotting repeated elements, and I got much better at making listings or designs that were sticky. This got me much more efficient with my time and got me many more bestsellers than I had before. So how do we do that? This video is going to be all about that. And this video is also part of our summer series. So we are going to be focusing on a summer niche. If you aren't a subscriber yet and you don't want to miss any videos in our summer series that really go into how to create unique designs and niches that will get you sales consistently throughout the summer, then don't forget to subscribe now. I am warning you now that I am going to enjoy a lot of different pasta puns in this video. So prepare yourself and go ahead and hold onto your chef hats, hold onto your aprons, and let's talk together about the possibilities. In this video here, I highlight a sunset design, and I mentioned that while the shop that posted it about a month prior to my making this video was doing great and making tons of sales with this bestseller, I myself would never try to post something so generic in my shop. If you did miss this video, I'll have it available to click on at the end of this video, and I'll also put it down in the description for easy access. Here is that design. We can see there are 20 in the cart. It is a bestseller. It is very generic, not niched down at all, just a retro sunset. And that's it. I want some more info on this listing, so I'm going to use the free version of Everbee. That's a Chrome extension where we can dig a little deeper and get some more details. We see here that the listing age of this design or this listing is 1 month old, and the total sales are 40. So just 1 month ago they listed it and already got 40 sales. I try to link anything we're chatting about down in the description. You will find Everbee down there, and also Creative Fabrica. We're going to head over to Creative Fabrica now. You can use that link and you will get a free trial for the month. But I did find that graphic on Creative Fabrica. So over here in Creative Fabrica, I'm typing in retro sunset. And here that design is. It's just a very simple retro design. I can see right here that it's got both a commercial and full POD usage allowed. I can also see when it was listed. I point this out because seeing that we have commercial and POD usage allowed lets us know that we are allowed to use this image as is. We can take it and sell it on our POD items. But just like Etsy, where you and I can list anything we really want to, people on Creative Fabrica can do that also. And there are copycatters or people infringing on other people's work. So I like to just kind of double check that. I see that the date there dates back prior to the bestseller. So I know that the designer on Creative Fabrica didn't take the design from the person who's selling it on Etsy. And while we're on that topic, I'll also just briefly mention, if there's a phrase on the design, you still have to make sure that that phrase isn't trademarked, because the seller of that PNG file doesn't know that you're going to put it on a shirt. So you just want to make sure that it's not trademarked for a shirt. Or if it's like a Disney type thing, you would not want to put that in your shop. And just in case you're not familiar, anytime you're putting a phrase on a shirt or a mug or a tote, whatever it is that you're selling, you always want to go to uspto.gov and double check to make sure that that phrase isn't trademarked for those particular items. Before we get designing, I am going to show you just a small number of other listings that I found that have this same exact graphic as a listing in their shop. I can tell from many of the listing dates that a lot of these listings popped up after that bestseller got some traction on it. Now, I know this might seem like a good idea, but that is just preposterous, and you will find out why in just a minute. There is even one listing I came across that was listed well before the bestseller. I'm sure the shop that was listing this graphic didn't even see the other shop that had listed it nearly a year prior because it didn't make any traction. It had no sales on it. And that might leave you scratching your head. Why wouldn't the shop that listed it first be the one that grabbed traction on it and get the bestseller off of it? We're going to discuss that also. These sellers got very different results. The design wound up being a very sticky noodle for the shop that got the bestseller on it and was pretty much a raw noodle for the dozens of other listings I found that were listing the same design. We're going to talk about why that is and how we can use the design in a much more effective way. We are going to learn how to make positively sticky noodle listings from it. Here's our bestseller listing that's got 20 in the cart and the bestseller badge with this just super generic sunset graphic straight off Creative Fabrica. However, when we do a little digging, this shop is a monster with 110,559 sales in total. They have paid their dues, so to speak, and now they can get bestsellers probably sometimes with generic designs like this. So they've got a much better chance at it than a newer shop. Here we have a shop that has the same exact design that they got off Creative Fabrica. They actually listed it before the shop that got the bestseller badge on it. But I want to point out that this shop, they only have 406 sales total so far, so they are a much newer shop. This shop also has it listed and it's gone nowhere, hasn't sold at all, and they've got 1,212 total sales. So again, much newer shop than the one that's got the bestseller. And yet another, this shop has 6,578 sales and still no sales for this shirt. This one's interesting. They actually have 49,812 sales, but they listed it 13 months ago. And I kind of did the math. According to my estimate, they probably had 20 to 25,000 sales when they posted. And I have more sales than that. And I would not expect to be able to sell this design. It's just really generic. So let's talk about how to make it sticky. This first one is inspired by, of course, our sunset that we're working with. And then this other bestseller, Sun, Salt, Sand, that has the palm trees kind of taking the shape behind the words. So here I just created, with the sunset, here we have it with the sun, salt, sand, that phrase. I looked at USPTO to make sure that was not trademarked. That's, of course, what you'd want to do with any phrase that you're putting on a shirt. And then I just curved it to go along with the curve of the sunset, and I use the same color scheme from the graphic. I often do that. I'll pull colors from the graphic while I'm designing. Here we're going to pull this sunset over into the end of school year teacher shirts. So school's out for summer is a popular phrase to put on an end of year teacher shirt. And we're just going to put that retro sunset that people are loving along with that phrase, and we're going to get ourselves some good SEO. This would be a sticky noodle listing, and it would be very niched down. I selected my top text there, And I just went into style and I was able to curve it so it kind of fits around the top of the sunset. And now I went into color, and I can just take that little dropper tool or the little plus sign, and I can just drag it over the colors I want. I'm just kind of checking it out, seeing what color I think looks nice. I'm going to go with the lighter yellow because I'm thinking of a black shirt. Although I go with the darker yellow or the orange, and it would look great on a white shirt. And they're quick and easy. So here's the finished design, and this is just a really good example of taking an element, something as simple as a graphic from Creative Fabrica that we know people are liking, but it's too generic for us to put in our shop and make any traction. And this is how you niche it down. And this is only one way of many ways. The only thing that would hold you back here is your imagination. You could go into lots of different sub-niches and bring this graphic and have a chance to get a bestseller. Quick note before everyone runs out and puts this sunset in an end of school year type of design. If you're watching this in June when I'm releasing it, it's too late to post those. You should be posting 45 days to 90 days prior to when things are going to be selling, and the time to list those is really over because most schools have already ended for the school year either in May or early to mid-June. Most of them are out already. Also, on that note, I wouldn't even suggest using this sunset in a bunch of designs. So, kind of understand a couple thousand people are going to watch this video. And a certain percentage of those people are going to go, oh, Creative Fabrica, I'm going to grab this design because Simply Shawna did this research for me, so I'm just going to go with it. This is an example of how I would do the research. Since I'm sharing it on YouTube and realize thousands of people will hear it, a certain percentage of those people will go and grab the sunset themselves and put their designs out with that sunset. That's no longer a sticky noodle. It is the people that are willing to do the research that I'm showing you I did with the sunset. It is those people that will take this knowledge, apply it, and they will be the trendsetters in another area. They will be the trendsetters and the people that are grabbing the next bestsellers for themselves. They're the ones that will learn how to make the sticky noodles, whether someone on YouTube is giving an idea or not, they'll be able to generate the ideas for themselves. So this is really meant not to encourage you to go grab that sunset. Although I know a certain percentage of people will, that is kind of a waste of time at this point. Taking this kind of lesson or this knowledge and applying it somewhere else, that's where the magic happens. That's where the real opportunity is. Okay, let's jump back into some more examples because examples are the best way we can learn. Actually, before we jump back in, my little sous chef reminded me to make sure I ask you to like this video. So if you are enjoying this content, or maybe you're just looking forward to that Tucker take at the end, if you wouldn't mind taking a second to just smash that like button. I'm going back to that Sun Salt Sand bestseller and noticing that the element there with the palm trees, I really want to kind of focus in on that element with the palm trees. So I'm going to bring that sunset together with the palm trees. I'm using GoDaddy Studios here, and I just clicked on graphic, and I'm putting palm tree, and I'm looking for a palm tree. Their graphics aren't the most spectacular. A lot of times I use Creative Fabrica, and I do things like this to the Creative Fabrica designs. We're going to superimpose that sunset in the palm trees, like into the palm trees. There's a couple things I need to do. I need to make the palm trees black for this technique to work in GoDaddy Studios. So I get the graphic, I just turned it black. And now I'm going into mask. You can see at the bottom there, that's what I chose. And I'm just masking over or deleting those clouds. I don't want to use those. I'm doing this on the phone. I'm just pinching and using my fingers to make the trees the size I want. I need to add a shape, which I selected from the bottom, and it's going to be a square, and we need it to be white. So we need a black graphic and we need a white square, and the white square needs to be the bottom layer. So I just dragged it to the bottom layer. I grabbed the sunset out of my images since that's where it would be when I downloaded it from Creative Fabrica. And I'm just pinching it again, making it the size that I want. I clicked on layers there at the top, and I'm pulling the sunset to the top layer, so it's on top of the palm trees. And now I'm all the way over at the end there, blend, and now I'm going to choose lighten from that menu that pops up after you get to blend. And that blends the sunset into the palm trees. So I still have this white background. I need to download this image and then upload it back into a new screen here and remove background, which is what I just did. Sometimes it takes a minute, so I'm just going to let it do its thing for a second. And now we have our image. So this one isn't super niched down, but we're taking that palm tree element and mixing it with this sunset, this retro sunset that people seem to be loving. I would not suggest this mock-up. I'd pick one that was prettier, that had a beachy vibe to it. I just had this one handy. And there we have the finished design on our t-shirt. Here we're pulling this sunset that's doing well into another beachy niche, family vacation. And we are adding personalization as well. So we've got the location at the top. I've got Hawaii and Key West. This is possibly my favorite one, and the one that I think is maybe the stickiest out of the ones we came up with today. And you can scale this design out with lots of different locations of different beachy vacation destinations. So we also have it personalized, adding another layer to it that could make it sticky. We've got 2023, and then the family can add their name to the design. If you follow this channel, you already know that I made my family some family vacation shirts since we're going to the Keys super soon, but I did not use this sunset because I don't actually like this sunset. However, that does not have any role, whether I like an element or not, plays no part in what I decide to put in my own shop. Because I want to put things in my shop that are selling, and I know this design or this graphic is selling. So let me know down in the comments below which of these designs was your favorite or which one you felt was the stickiest. Or we'd love to hear you share your ideas of another way we can take this design and make it sticky so other viewers can get some more examples. Treat your design journey like a noodle chef. Embrace the noodles that stick, adapt to your customers' tastes, and savor the success that comes from discovering the perfect recipe for your Etsy POD shop. Thanks for putting up with all my puns. I had so much fun with this one. I hope I get to see you in this next video so we get to keep hanging out. But of course, not until after this tip from Tucker that I'm sure you're going to love. Tucker, take it away.